Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho, and tonight is kind of a impromptu live stream because there's been a lot of energy going around the last about 3 weeks or so. I have something moving. And part of it is because of the solar eclipse that happened a couple of weeks ago, but there's a season that we're in right now, and that's what we're going to discuss tonight. So, the full moon this month is the Hunter moon. Some people call it a blood moon, but it's the Hunter moon. And it is also a lunar eclipse. So 2 weeks ago, give or take, we had a solar eclipse in the Pacific Northwest. Idaho was just on the outside of it, so we didn't get a full eclipse, but we were close. And the lunar eclipse is actually for another part of the world, but its energy is very much affecting the rest of us. Most of the United States actually will not get to see this particular eclipse. I think the East Coast, from what I was looking at the maps, is going to see like a partial quarter eclipse or something, but it's still causing some ripple effects around. There was also a Friday the 13th this month, so when you really think about what's going on, just that. We won't even get into the rest of it yet. We will, but not yet. We've had a full solar eclipse, very close to where Idaho is. We are in the process of having a lunar eclipse, which that's a lot of fun. We've had a Friday the 13th, but guess what else is happening? It's October, and we are within, I'm going live tonight on the 28th. In 3 little days, we have Samhain, commonly called Halloween, but the veil between worlds as we speak is getting thinner by the day. With all this intensity, it's a good time to remind yourself to be gentle with yourself. Emotions are going to be very intense, and they have been for the past couple of weeks. Anyone who's sensitive knows what I'm talking about. And I know personally, the last 3 weeks or so have been a roller coaster, and I'm kind of ready for things to be over personally. But over the last few weeks, it's been a little intense. We're building in intensity. This week, everything should reach its apex and start to settle down. Fingers crossed. So what else does this moon mean? This moon is aligned positively in the astrological world with Mars and Mercury. But the three of them, the moon, Mars, and Mercury, are not having a good time with Jupiter, which means it's not going to be in a good time for the rest of us. Jupiter's the party planet, the happy guy for the most part. When we have Mars and Mercury not being friends with Jupiter, then you throw the moon on top of it. This is periods of time where we're pushing some boundaries, testing limits. How strong are your boundaries? Let's poke at that for a second. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy or fun, because Jupiter's on the outs with the other three, just so we're paying attention here. You'll notice that there's going to be a little bit more of an intolerant attitude or harsher criticism during this time. You might be offering it, you might be receiving it. Don't take it personally, and if you notice yourself being a little bit more aggressive, take a breath. Pause yourself, catch yourself. Because I know I have had a little issue with that here recently, and I had to catch myself before I really lost it. This is also a time when it's testing you to hold fast to what you're actually moving towards. It doesn't matter if it's a goal, dream, wish, hope, fill in the blank. Mars can help, Mars' strength, because they're very aggressive, very dominant energy, can help you hold on to the focus, but don't let it go to the other side of Mars, which is go to war. We're not doing that. You just want to be stable in where you're at and be able to push back with people coming at you. The sun is opposite the moon in this eclipse, which is what eclipses are. The sun and the moon are not talking. And with this one, because of where it lines up, we have a focus on opposing forces in your life. Sun being more masculine, more dominant, more outgoing, the moon being more reclusive, more feminine, more inverted, so to speak. Introverted, not inverted, good grief. This shows up in the opposing forces of work and home, family versus friends, needs versus wants. And you can literally put any two dynamics in your life that are at odds with each other. This is going to expose inner tension between the two, sometimes enhancing the outer pressure. So if it's a work-home thing, it's going to really, that tension in the home especially is going to build. And you're going to, other people may notice it. The outer pressure is outside influences coming in. This is where your stress and some of this intense energy, especially the last couple of weeks, can lead to conflict. And it's also, if it's not conflict outside, it's going to be a draining situation where you're just exhausted. And personally, the last 3 weeks have been a pain in the rear end. And I know other people in my little circle have, in real life, have had the same thing where the last few weeks it's just been exhausting and they can't quite put their finger on why. We're in an eclipse season, which is not pleasant. There's other things that can come up during this time. One of the references I found was causing a crisis period. Something like that's going to pop up, but the crisis is not exactly like devastating. I mean, it could be, but that's not the way the energy's lining up. When I was tapping into this as I was researching it, it didn't show that it was going to be disastrous. It was going to be more of a crisis to show you something needs to be fixed, something that needs to be readjusted. Maybe you're holding on to something that needs to be let go of. That's the crisis. It's going to be basically kind of shaking things up a little bit, going, dude, what are you doing? It's definitely going to cause a gigantic WTF moment going forward. But it's there to help you clean up your mental environment, your physical environment, amongst other things. It's not just about the horror. It's about, hey, you're holding on to something that's not benefiting you anymore. Let it go. Or there's a balance that's being really tried right now, and you may be causing a lot of problems because you haven't fixed the imbalance. So this could be a little bit of that headache as well. When the moon is full, just in general, emotions tend to run high, very high. And if you're sensitive, you know that. If you work in law enforcement, if you've worked for EMTS of any form, it all applies. Full moon, WTF-ery. You also have the powerhouse of Mars, which is in your corner, benefiting you. So you have the strength to handle this intense energy, but don't let it go too far the other direction. Mars energy is super strong, but it's also highly aggressive. Then you throw the moon on top of that with all of its emotional, intuitive energy. It can be a little hostile. This is where you have to tap into your intuition. It's really strong in full moon energy, and people who are intuitive notice that during the 3-day window of full moon, they're way more sensitive than normal. Use this inner guidance to navigate any issues that arise. Use the strength from Mars, the positive aspects of Mars, to stand firm in what you're doing. Mercury being hanging out there too is going to help guide the communication with this conflicting energies. Could be personal conflicts as well, but you really want to tap into that lunar energy to follow your intuition. Just because it's an intense period of time and the energy's all over the place doesn't mean it's going to be doom and gloom. Traditionally, this full moon, if we're going with traditional astrology, is in the sign of Taurus. Very grounded, very stable, really focused on the hearth and home. Being the hunter moon in Taurus, you would be setting up for the winter, the survival of your family primarily, your clan secondary, village, whatever term you want to use. And so this can lead to very inflated emotions as well, though, because full moons. Powerful urges. Being in Taurus, it's going to be more urges towards the family than anything else. It's not going to be so much, wild hair type stuff. It's going to be more got a plan for the future stuff. In the newer version of astrology, I can't remember what it's called, but not a big fan personally. I'm just bringing information forward because I found it. The moon is in Aries, which is weird because that's two sign might be the next sign. Anyway, it's close to Taurus. Like I said, not strong on astrology. So there's a little bit of fiery aspects that may be influencing this full moon as well. This could be bringing in new energy, which would be amazing. But it's going to be a little bit more dominant, tending to more flashy energy though. Aries is not known for its staying power. It's a little restless, a little moody, at times rash. So depending on which version of the zodiac you choose, traditional sign of Taurus, kind of nesting energy with a full moon right now especially. If you go with Aries, it taps more into that Mars energy, a lot more aggressive, but not consistent, or doesn't have staying power. So you got some of that energy going up forward here too. Either way, doesn't matter if you take traditional or the new version. With everything going on right now, this is a really good time to take guidance from the universe to improve or change aspects or areas of your life that might not be the best, or you can't quite figure out what's wrong. Tap into your intuition. Find out what matters to you. Full moons are great for this, and with all this eclipse energy, you're being able to see gateways. Adjust what you're seeing, what matters to you, what's in the way, adjust it, fix it. Improve your balance in your life. If there's karmic lessons or patterns that are showing up, this is a really good time to start examining them, seeing what's going on, what can you change, what can you let go of. We also have, as I was rooting around, I found this, Sirius Saturn, the stern outer planet, is working with this eclipse energy specifically. This is a really good thing. Normally Saturn can be kind of a wet blanket, or that grumpy stern father that's smacking you on the back of the head with a ruler. But in this particular case, Saturn is going to help you solidify the changes that you're making. If there's something that needs to be flipped completely 180, like you're trucking down the road and it dawns on you you're going the wrong direction, Saturn's energy will help you flip that and return to where you need to be and take the right fork. Saturn's energy is really good to make adjustments, and it helps make them stick. Saturn is a very slow planet, so when it makes changes, it works towards long term. So you're working through some heavier energy, making some bigger life changes, and you've got the support to do so. Use this energy to look at places where you've been overdoing it. In the last 4 years, it's been a lot of ups and downs. Not gonna lie, I've had ups and downs. I know you have. I don't care who you are watching this, you've had ups and downs. Some people took to overdoing staying at home. I have former coworkers who had this problem. The aspects of life that have gotten out of balance. Some of us are workaholics, where our home life always suffers because we're always working. What can you do to rearrange your life? Bring more into balance. Find better alignment with your higher self, God, source, divine energy. And once you start to see that pattern, one next step. Just one. Let go of what you do not need. Find a way to release that. There is another YouTuber who I watch randomly because he does have some entertaining takes, but he always uses the phrase, when we're talking about change, it doesn't mean you have to make drastic change. If you can change 1%, be 1% better than the day before, that is a massive improvement. So you don't have to make huge sweeping gestures to get better. Just something small, but improve each day. Whether it's being more consistent about your getting up every morning, more consistent with diet, that morning walk, exercise, meditation, whatever. Be more focused on improving. So, the other thing that made me want to throw up when I read this the first time, and then I dug into it a little bit more, was this solar lunar eclipse bubble we got going on right here with the shifting of Samhain as well, is actually setting a stage for a 6-month window of time. This is setting us up for a period of changes, so Saturn will help you work through stuff over the next 6 months, and it's going to get more locked in, redirected, on March of 2024. So you've got a 5-6 month window here. The intense energy that we're dealing with right now, which is nightmarish, will settle down. That is what I've picked up from meditating on this. This is some research I did as well. The intensity will settle down just after the veil returns to its normal place after Samhain, which there's about a 5-day window there. So we're on the beginning of it right now. So figure next weekend things will start to get quieter, energetically speaking. But during this time, working with Saturn, looking at the things on balance, balancing work-life, home, work-home, friendship, family, what you're wanting, what you're needing, bringing all of that stuff into more of an aligned state. What little changes can you do to set yourself up for the long term down the road? What is it you can do to put in more permanent adjustments? There's a lot of really positive energy coming forward right now, but we've had to go through a little bit of a hiccup to get our attention, I think is what happened. So, take the lessons from the last 3 weeks or so and shake up your life. What is it that's not working? This has been a period to wake you up. And now that you've been kind of shaken a little bit, look at how you can settle on the things that matter the most to you going forward. And how can you bring balance back to your life? A motto that came to me as I was working on this, because I was trying to get it worded right and get and tapping in with my guides, they kept bringing forward this motto. And you can use this motto for the next 6 months, just trying to get it into your head, kind of in a mantra state. You are examining your life. You're adjusting what needs to be fixed. You're releasing the stuff that's not working. Examine, adjust, release. And my guides would mention that frequently as I was going through this, because this last 3 weeks, it was really a time to start snapping you out of the funk that you were in. Like, you just had a day to day, this is what I do. All this intense energy is saying, whoa, 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 whoa. You're out of balance, things aren't working. So now going forward, examining what's there. What is it you need to fix? Adjusting it, changing it, making those changes and those steps. It's not going to be easy. I'm not going to lie to you and say that. But then let go of what doesn't work anymore. Whether that is a relationship, really rethink, be careful with that one. Whether it's work, something about work's not working, like you've got too much on your plate, hand some of it off. Talk to a supervisor or manager and be like, can we adjust this? I'm working 50 hours a week. I'd like to get it down to like 45. Can I hand this off to someone else? Delegate is another good big one. But releasing the stuff that's not working. It could be that you're holding on to a hurt from 20 years ago. It could be you're holding on to a relationship from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 6 months ago. Release the energy. There's a lesson that you can learn through all of that. Take that with you. But the energetic living in the past period is not serving you. Let that go. Release it. So just as you're going through the next 6 months or so till March-ish, examine, adjust, release. Look at it, fix it, let it go as you're going forward. So, just to kind of wrap things up here, we'll pull a couple of oracle cards just to see the energy going forward for the next 6 months or so. And just because I like working with the cards, this is the Gratitude Oracle. This is the little guidebook that goes with it. And it is amazing art, which is why I really like this deck. So if you're interested, there's a link in the description. It's an affiliate link. When you click through that, it just helps support the channel. Hello, Serge. So we will just kind of see what messages. And when I was working on this, I was really focusing, meditating before I started to find the support that we need. We've had enough of the chaos. We've had enough structure or stress. Let's find some supporting messages, things that are bringing us peace, bringing us the advice that we need, or maybe a direction that we should be paying attention to. So our first one is energy. You've got the energy to move forward with what we have going on. There's going to be some interesting times, especially with the examining and readjusting. Change isn't always easy. It can be very uncomfortable, but you've got the Saturn energy, this Lion energy that's coming forward, and Saturn and Lion are not together, but they're both strong, powerful focuses. And so you've got this energy moving forward saying it's time for the change. I mean, the Lion's flying, they're going somewhere. Things are adjusting. But when you're doing it, it's freeing you because you're flying. You're not you're not anchored to the dirt anymore. This is a really good time. You've got the energy to move forward with it. You also are working on your relationships. This one came up even before I pulled this card. As we went through this a lot, when I was working on meditation, trying to understand more about this energy, the relationships were probably the most important thing that kept coming forward. And the one that was really sticking out to me was your work to home balance. If you're a workaholic like me, your relationship to your home life tends to be a little bit more lax or set on the back burner. What do you want more importantly? Do you want a home life that is happy, a home life that is supportive, a home life where you find peace, or do you want to spend your entire life working? Because your relationships are between two. Your relationship can be with work, and that's where all your focus is, or your relationship can be with your home. Working on friendships, building that support system. If you're single, it could be a time to look for a partner. But this next 6 months is really focusing on relationships and finding balance with them. Your relationship to work, technically, in my opinion, should be a secondary concern. Your primary should be with your partner, your spouse, however you view that person, and with your immediate family. That's your primary. That's your support system. That relationship is the dominant one. Your secondary is your work relationship. You need that to pay for things, obviously, but it shouldn't become your primary focus where that's all you do. That will damage the home relationship, which is your support system. So definitely want to work on paying attention to your relationships. This is funny. Anyway, because I pulled these as I was going. The third card is the Evolve. This is a period of massive growth if you choose it. Growth requires energy. It requires looking at your relationships. But you're evolving, you're changing, you're growing. Going ahead for this next 6 months, as you're examining, you're adjusting, and you're releasing, it's allowing you to grow into the state that you were meant to be in, if you will. But it's really bringing you into a higher frequency. It's helping you focus on what is most important. For some people, their spiritual journey is the most important thing to them. Family then falls into second place, work becomes third. There are other people who their career is the most important thing, literally to the destruction of everything else. Their evolution is different than others. For me personally, my goals, the thing I value more, are the relationships with my friends. Being single, you don't have a lot of other options at the moment. But it's really that evolving, that growth period where the next 6 months are going to be important. We opened an energetic bubble, so to speak, the last 3 weeks. Shaking things up, kind of slapping us all upside the head going, hello, wake up. Because the change that's coming is necessary for our own journeys, whatever they might look like for you. It's really important to be willing to grow, to let go of the past, to expand. You have the energy available to you. The lunar and solar eclipses cleared out a lot and opened the energetic gateway so that you can move forward. Your relationships are going to be your support system, especially the ones at home. Those are the most important things to build. Because evolution is not easy. Evolution is painful. And I'm not talking Darwin evolution. That's a different topic. We're talking about spiritual, mental, physical evolution. Growing into a higher frequency. Growing into a more aligned state with God source, divine energy, your higher self, bringing your relationship into a higher state. These are all aspects of this growth and evolution that are occurring. The energy that we've been dealing with the last few weeks is saying, knock, 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 hello, change is inevitable. Now it's time for you to put a little bit more focus on it. You can either be a passive follower and let the change just batter you, and then you scream victim card, or you can step up and say, no, I will change things because this is what I'm working with. This is where I want my life to go. I align with my higher self, with God source divine energy. This is where we're moving. I will not be a victim to the change. I will be a tool to create change. So, something to think about going forward. I know it's a spontaneous one tonight, but if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and drop any comments if you're watching this on the replay. And I will check those at least once a day because I do have a day job. But I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for swinging by, and have a great next 6 months. And don't forget, examine, adjust, and release as you go through the next 6 months. Have a great week.